Williams. Oh, my goodness. In your life, have you seen anything like that? They're going to go nuts when he hits this thing. And now it comes down to one putt for the win. Is it his time?
All right, here we are. We've got TL2 Teddy Lassier, JL Justin Lair, and Cameron Zyke. Great Bogey Podcast. How you doing, gentlemen?
It is a Wednesday, man. Wednesday.
It is a Wednesday. I'm just I'm appreciative of the fact that the sun is still out and we're recording. So
Yes,
thank you,
yes,
gentlemen.
we have moved up approximately 2 hours to our normal recording time, and Teddy's very excited about it, even though he was rushed to make it.
That wasn't.
It is.
Yeah, that's a long story.
He was rushed because he was hungry. Therefore, he was having having some emotional issues. You know, he's the perfect candidate for the Snickers commercial. Like,
Yes,
TL2, eat a Snickers.
Yeah. I did. After I ate, I feel much better, I will say.
And now that I
eat,
said
Teddy?
something, I'll be targeted.
I don't want to say what I ate because it was not something I usually eat, and I feel like people are going to get the wrong impression. So,
okay, weird response. We're just gonna move on from that one.
it was popcorn chicken. I ate popcorn chicken.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Frozen
parents make you
popcorn
popcorn chicken, like it makes sense.
I like popcorn chicken
with some Japanese barbecue sauce. It was pretty good.
I don't like that Japanese barbecue.
I thought
sauce.
you were gonna say like I was eating baby food or some shit like that. Like,
no, that's dessert. Once we finish wrapping up, that's what I'm actually.
I was
sweet
eating
potato baby food,
pureed peas.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Mixed with applesauce.
Yeah,
I mean, you can make a good pasta sauce with the pureed peas.
Interesting. Did we just become a homemade pasta sauce podcast?
Yeah,
we can be.
Because I'm very intrigued by what you just said about making a good pasta sauce.
Like Ninja Blender, can you sponsor us, please?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll reach out to Ninja and see if they're looking to sponsor any podcast.
Yeah.
I'm going back to Wednesday. It is Wednesday. We, being married to a school teacher, the summer countdown begins on the first day of school. And she has 2 days left of school this week, tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. So I'm well aware of what date it is, what day of the week it is, and how much longer we have until she gets 2.5 months off. So
when is the last day of school for where you're at, Cam?
Friday. So Monday's the official first day of her summer break.
No way, really?
Yes.
My daughter's not out of school until June 17th.
Yikes.
Well, we also had like 4 snow days, so or maybe more. We had some pretty interesting snowstorms this winter, so yeah. So summer's not starting for a while here.
I'm curious to know, like, before we get too much into the golf talk, what do each of your significant others do for work? Mine's a school teacher, special education. Teddy, what does your girlfriend / wife / roommate do?
Create and work, doing other stuff.
Okay. Very vague answers coming from TL2 today.
TL2 is going to be spicy here in a little bit. When that barbecue sauce just like settles in, his blood sugar gets up a little bit more, he's going to be good to go.
Justin?
So for the longest time, stay at home, and then she is now a recruiter for the old company that I used to work at.
Oh, so, okay.
Yeah, and she had to take on, which has been kind of interesting because she usually works like 4 or 5 hours a day, if that. But she just had to take over for someone who left on maternity leave, the executive assistant of the CEO. So now she's like running his calendar and stuff. Yeah, the stress level has been a little different. She's not as happy to make me lunch every day, which has been
Sure.
kind of interesting. But we'll see how it goes.
What are your thoughts
Justin,
on maternity
you work
leave,
from
Justin?
home. Make your own lunch, okay?
No, I didn't even think about that.
Dude, I'm not allowed in the kitchen. Just telling you guys. Like my wife.
Then DoorDash it.
Was that your rule or
No, that's hers.
her rule? Oh, okay.
We'll just say like OCD in a good way of like you touched the oven. I did. You're right. She's like, don't do that.
You left fingerprints on the stainless steel.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like, you know what? I will do other things. That is your environment, and you get to stay there. That's how it works.
All right. Cool. Well, now that we got the small talk out of the way, shall we get down to business? That is golf.
Yeah. What kind of hat are you wearing, Cam?
Hopefully, future sponsor Sunday Red, Tiger Woods' brand. I'll be honest. Watching Tiger walk around and just sweating through his polos, I'm like, I'm not going to make that same mistake. I'm a sweater. But I was like, let me see what these hats are about. So I bought 3 of them. There's a red one right there, the black one, and then the one I showed you guys, the other one that fitted kind of like a flex vented hat. That one's the most comfortable. This is definitely not a wear out to the golf course hat with like the fabric. It's almost like felt feeling, like a pool table.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. But it's very comfortable. The
Is the other one? The other one, does that have the smaller logo?
The black and white one, yes. The red one is bigger than this. It kind of covers.
I remember the red one having the bigger logo. I liked that other black one though with the smaller logo.
It's very comfy. It will be making the trip to the golf course very soon, if not the next time I'm out. So 10 out of 10, I'd recommend the hats. That's all.
It's good to know they fit your head because you and I have huge domes.
So I do too. As you can tell, it takes up like most of the screen. Their size choices are like extra small, regular, and then like XXL. This is actually a regular, but it's a snapback. And I've got 3 dots left. Wait, is this a regular? This is 2X. Oh no, this is XXL. The red ones are.
I was gonna say there's no chance that's a regular with two dots left.
But even with the 3 dots, like I'm sometimes a 1 dot, like 1 notch left guy, and it's very just not cool. So I'm happy that I have a little room on this one. So
hey, so before we jump into the Charles Schwab Challenge Colonial, I've got something that's kind of interesting, and I was going to bring it up because I want to actually hear some like comments of what you would actually do. So our golf course does a match play event, right? So there's like 30 people in match play. I got put in like last second, so I had to play this guy. He kind of sets everything up. So one, I was kind of mad about that because the like best to last didn't happen, and so him and I are playing each other. I'm a 3, he's a 1, and I totally forgot to schedule it last week. And so it was this week. It was like, okay, tomorrow we'll play. And I was telling Cam before he jumped on, I went to the gym, did something to like my back. Doesn't hurt, but doesn't feel good, right? And like the last thing I really wanted to do was go swing a golf club. So I texted him. I'm like, hey, is there any way we can do this on Thursday? And the caveat to this is that yesterday there was supposed to be wind, rain, and 55 degrees. And Thursday is supposed to be 70 and no wind. He's like, sorry, I got a family concert I'm going to. I'm like, crap. Okay, what about Sunday? We're camping over the weekend. What about Monday? Because we all have the day off. That's going to be really tough. All right, well, it was my fault for not reaching out last week. We'll just do this. So I head out there. I took my daughter with me because she's fully functional by herself and she wanted to go play golf. And at this point, I'm not saying no to her wanting to go play golf. And I walk around the corner, he's in the bar, and I look at the table and I'm like, huh, he's got a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old with him. Like, this is going to be interesting. Okay.
No mom to be found.
No mom to be found. And I'm like, so babysitter? He's like, yeah, they're just going to ride in the cart. I'm like, okie dokie. This is going to be interesting. So we tee off. It starts pouring rain. I'm like, oh, man, this blows. All right. And I win the first 2 holes, and I'm like, oh, sweet, I'm 2 up, which that came to a screeching halt because I was not playing good. I was like, I took 6 warm-up swings. I'm like, I don't know how long my back's going to last. I am not warming up right now. So we get to the 6th hole, and we catch up to a group of, I don't know, I'm going to say high school boys that are in front of us. It took them 30 minutes to play the second par 5. And I'm just like, come on, guys. Like, crap. Taking them forever. We're waiting on the last 3 holes, and we were playing pretty quick until then. And we get to hole 9. He's like, he is frustrated at this point. I'm like, yeah, this kind of sucks. And I lose hole 9, and now I'm 1 down. So I'm like, this blows. So we're making the turn. I go inside. My daughter grabs like a Shirley Temple or something because that's what she gets. And he's grabbing a drink, and all of a sudden he's like, yeah, and I need a cheeseburger, and I need a quesadilla, and I need something else. I'm like,
She's got kids to feed.
Are we staying to eat? He's like, no. We'll be fine. And I'm like, what? Okay. And I'm like, hey, if you want my daughter to stay with them so we can go and play, because at this point we're going on 10 minutes. And I'm like, let's go. He's like, no, I wouldn't want to do that. And I'm like, no, I'm literally offering you. Like, my daughter's 13. She can totally watch your kids in the restaurant while we go play until your wife comes. He's like, no, they'll be fine. So we wait for the food 25 minutes. And the kids in front of us, because we told them we were going to pass them at the turn, waited almost the entire time for us and finally gave up and started playing. So now we're behind them again. And we get to the 10th tee, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they are 100 yards in front of us. So we're like, hey, can we pass you guys now? Hey, yelling at them. Play hole number 10 because we hit our drives over them and just kind of go past them. We get to 11, hit tee shots, go to hit my second shot, and all of a sudden he takes off in a golf cart. I'm like, where the hell is he going? And I'm like, oh my gosh, he has to go get his kids back to his wife. He's gone for another 20 minutes, and I'm on the green with my daughter, and I'm like, all right, Shorty, well, you get to have some chipping practice. And I'm like, 20 minutes later, he comes back. And the kids are about to, like, they're hitting off the tee box. They're catching up to us now. And I'm like,
yeah.
I was so pissed at that point.
Yeah.
I was out of it. I was like, all I want is for this thing to end because I'm mentally out of it and I do not give a shit. And I'm just like, what just happened?
Yeah. How long did it take you guys to get to like that point? To get through 12
How long have you
holes
been
or whatever?
golfing?
By the time we got to the 11th hole, because of the 25, 30 minutes we waited at the turn, it was like 3 hours.
Yeah, I would have told him, I would have said, hey, you won. I'm going to go play golf with my daughter.
The funny thing is, I'm like, I can do this on Monday. Why don't we do this on Monday when you don't have your kids? It's not pouring rain. Like, we'll do this some other time. He's like, that probably won't work. I'm like,
this is the guy who set it up, who set up this event at the golf course.
Yeah. So oh man, and I lost 3-2. I couldn't swing either. So everything I was coming over the top and just pulling, trying to compensate for it. And I was trying to play it, but it just wasn't working. And by the time we made 16, I was like, yep, we're done. And I was like, I'm just going to go grab dinner with my daughter. Like, I'm out. He's like, well, it was good playing. I'm like, it was something. It was not
it's like
good.
Nobody enjoyed this guy.
Yeah. Like,
no.
Oh, it's so brutal. So I told a buddy of mine, he's like, I would have just told him this match doesn't count. And I'm like, can you actually do that? Like, can we say that? Like, that feels like a huge dig. I'm like, whatever. I just don't even care at this point. And I'm over
if your financial investment's not significant in this, if it's not like,
$20.
It's like, okay, you learned your lesson that like, if you do this again next year and you get paired up with this guy at any point. You just have to expect it at this point, right?
Yeah.
I'd
It was
I'd have said something to him. I'd be like, dude, like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. So
I probably would have said it when I saw the kids. I'd be like, is that really how you want to do this?
Oh, and they were playing, like my daughter, she could hear the phones, like what they were playing on YouTube and the movies they were playing, you know? So they were watching Zombies, which is a musical. So all of a sudden, like at random times, you all of a sudden hear this music pop up and it's like, you know, ah! And I'm like, oh my gosh, like how can you be pissed at a kid that's happy? Like, but it just, oh, it was so frustrating.
If there was any hope in Teddy's heart of like any possibility of having kids, you just completely
Yeah.
smashed it out of them.
I can go and tell you, not even close.
Yeah.
Not even close.
So if whoever's listening right now, tell me, like, I want to hear in the comments, like, would you have quit on 11 or would you have kept playing? Because I was too big of a pussy to quit, and I like thought my mood would change and I would like start playing better, and it just got progressively worse from that point.
Yeah.
So, but
I mean, a whole 11, like you're already there. You know, it's
yeah,
he dropped his kids off, so you know it's gonna go quicker.
yeah, totally. It did.
You stick it out at that point, but at some maybe too, like you say, dude, my back's shot. Like you win by default. I can't swing a golf club, and you just make up an excuse and get off the course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
that
you
probably
just have
would
your daughter
actually-
play, and you can get her practice.
Yeah. She did play the first 9, which I was telling her the entire time. I'm like, if you slow this down at all, like longer than I think, like you're just walking. And she's like, all right. So she was like rushing and doing stuff. And I was like, I was actually kind of proud of that fact. I was like, all right, she is not making this any worse, which is nice. So
Well, and it seemed like you guys weren't going anywhere either.
no, yeah, that was the thing. So
Yeah, it's funny you said like if you slow us down, like that guy doesn't have a 6 and a 4-year-old.
yeah.
Any given moment could poop themselves.
Yeah, totally. It was interesting. I don't know. And you know when you just play bad too, and like you expect a little bit more out of yourself, and you come out of that, and you're like, I didn't lose because of that. I lost because I played like a dumbass.
Yeah.
But everything else just makes it feel even worse. So, and then I just lost in front of my daughter and got super frustrated. So that felt even worse.
And pooped yourself.
Yeah, pretty much. Like it was just brutal.
It wasn't the 4 or the 6-year-old that pooped themselves. It was the 40-year-old.
Yeah, exactly. Just right down the leg. All right. So speaking of right down the leg, we've got the Charles Schwab Challenge this week.
Interesting segue.
Yeah.
I see how it worked out well there and how you connected those two in your mind, Justin. So yeah, Charles Schwab.
Yeah, Charles Schwab. So
Charlie Schwab.
we're going to the Colonial
Old
Country Club
Chuck.
this week. I mean, do we call
The
it
new-
a renovation or
The
is
new Colonial.
Yeah, it's not a restoration, right? Is it kind of a renovation? Like in my mind, like I'm a car guy. It reminds me of like a resto mod. Have you ever heard that term? Like
No.
you take a classic and you put some updated suspension on it, a bigger motor, but it still has the outside body panels that make it look like a classic. Because you're not doing a restoration. Like, and that's what they did. They basically just revamped a whole bunch of different things. I don't think they did a restoration on it. Is that true?
I think it started as a restoration. I don't think people really had an issue at the course. I mean, Colonial's always been like a pretty popular stop on tour. I think there were some holes that just kind of got away from, the original architecture. So they tried to incorporate that, but they also, I mean, they tried to make an updated version of old Colonial, I think.
True.
Where, it's a little bit longer. They softened everything up. A lot of the slopes and the way, it interacts with the bunkers and with the water, nothing's as severe except for a couple of changes in some of the greens, it look like. But I think they tried to make it a modern tour course, but aesthetically looking like, the old Colonial Country Club. And it seemed like they did a pretty good job.
I mean, they're playing it as a par 70. It's 7,300 yards, so I think it is a little bit shorter than maybe a quote unquote modern club.
Mhm.
But I think they get away from the distance because of, like, you and I, we watched the same videos, but Gil Hanse was talking about you can take driver, but the problem is what we did with the driver is now if you hit the ball too far, it's going way out of the way, right? Like
Mhm.
it's going down an angle that you don't want to be down. So that's a good way to fight the distance, right? Like the battle, what the rollback's going to do for us when it comes here in 2 years. But it's an interesting way for that to happen.
Well, maybe that's why they kept it at 7,300 yards too, is to preemptively make it long for the rollback.
Well, and I mean it's tree lined. So
Yeah, they didn't. It's at first, because that's usually the first thing that happens when they do these renovations, right? Is they take out a bunch of trees, and they push around a lot of dirt. They did push around a lot of dirt, but it seemed like they took out some trees. They mainly just trimmed up some of them. But from some of the aerial views, like there's still a shit ton of trees
ton of
out there.
trees, ton
Mhm.
of trees. So driving accuracy is huge this week.
Mhm.
And what tour player is the best with a 3-iron off the tee is basically what's gonna put you right up there. One of the biggest things that I think what they did, especially, I mean, Dallas Fort Worth, unfortunately, I have been to that place 15 times in the last 3 years. Every time it's like every conference in the world has decided to go to Fort Worth. And in June, July, it is so hot.
Yeah.
So they put that new watering system in. So the water tubes under the greens. I mean, I remember being there in July. It was 120 all day, and at 2 a.m. I'm walking back to my hotel, and it's still 99 degrees.
What are you doing
So
out at 2 a.m., Justin?
I was
Nothing good happens.
getting water.
Yeah.
From the greens.
Yeah. So, but I mean, it never cools down. So I guess the main point of that is that it will cool down the root system so that it's cooler in the summertime, warmer in the wintertime, because they do get freezes, which is interesting. Like they
Yeah.
actually talked about that quite a bit. Like we went full dormant for 2 months in Dallas, which, I mean, I'm in Oregon, so things go full dormant in October until May, right?
Now,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, like it doesn't happen only for 60 days. Um, but I think the renovation's kind of cool. Like I think what they've done and how they've taken out some of the concrete and all the little things that they did to it is going to be pretty cool. They've only changed really 2 greens of it. So does it change it enough though? Someone like Emilio, who's won here twice, is he not going to know how to play this course now because it's changed enough?
I mean, because originally I didn't realize that they were going to try to keep the greens as similar as they
Yeah.
were. So once they started to talk about how they were, getting all the measurements for all the slopes, and then once they were, starting to put the gravel beds back in, and the topsoil and all that, and they were, rechecking it to make sure it was exactly the same it was before for most of the holes.
Yep.
That was really surprising. I mean, I think it's still going to be very similar to how it's played in the past, but I don't know. I mean, with so much new dirt and sod, like it's gonna play differently. Maybe after a few years when everything's starting to hold itself together and kind of settle, maybe it's gonna play how it used to be. But I think it's gonna be totally different than what it was last year.
Well, with that unmature grass, it's going to be a
Yeah.
little wispier, right? So the rough's
Mhm.
not going to be as thick. The
Mhm.
only thing that I know that will happen with that is like you can spin the shit out of the ball around the
Yeah.
greens with wispy grass.
Yeah.
So you're going to be able to hit flop shots that literally stop on a dime. You're going to be able to hit some of those like two bumps and check stops where it's just going to zip back, which will be interesting. And when you give that to a professional golfer, now you've opened up that course to just be destroyed.
Yeah.
And they potentially have weather coming in, as in rain and moisture, which We saw last week what happened with a little bit of rain and moisture.
People get arrested.
Yeah. Yeah.
First of all, I'm just really happy I got to hear the term mud ball at least 25 times last week.
Your favorite topic, the mud
there
ball.
was no lift clean in place. Like they stuck it out. Shots were going a little errant because there's a little speck of dirt on it, and I enjoyed it. So I hope they do that again if there's rain now, like coming into Fort Worth. Mud balls.
Let it ride.
I want mayhem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why? Why not?
That's going to be the
it
next
seemed
live,
like this
live team name is Mudballs.
Oh gosh.
that's not bad.
No, it's not.
I mean, I might actually go with that better than fireballs.
Hey, I know. I mean, this is kind of not currently what we're talking about. I know we already agreed on a new name and everything, and we're not going to say that yet. But should we reconsider
With mud
maybe
balls,
The
dude.
with
Mudball
Mudballs?
podcast.
We can talk
How
about
did
that in
that
our
not- how did-
creative meeting.
Yeah,
how
how
did
did
that
that
not
not come
come
up in the
I don't know.
text sessions?
Probably
said
because you guys
so many
crapped
different
on my take on lift clean in place. So I said, yeah, we're not even going to talk about mud balls ever again.
That is valid. I mean, we did
That's possible. Yeah.
we did say we
Yeah.
didn't want to have a tournament decided by that, but I mean, with all the weather that's happened at every PGA Tour event this year, the pros are destroying courses. So
Yeah.
we need hard, fast, and we need some greens with undulation to make chaos happen.
That's
Well, maybe
the
Pinehurst
US Open
will solve
2024 at Pinehurst. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Fact.
they
Yeah.
probably stopped watering today. They're like, yeah, we're just gonna dry this
I mean,
out for the next 3 weeks.
We do have a pretty strong field. We've got Scheffler, Morikawa, Spieth, your boy, Cam. We'll see if he makes the cut, right? Because I think, was it last year or was the year before he came into this and missed the cut? Homa, you got Blocky now. Like, I mean, there's a whole bunch of good players.
The
that
block
are
party
coming to-
continues, baby.
Yeah, he's just not stopping. I don't know when he actually teaches anymore. Like, did that go out the door when fandom came? Like in between YouTube shoots, he can do.
I think it went out
60-minute lesson?
before that. Like the story was that he doesn't usually give that many lessons anyways. I think it's one of those like maybe some buddies or some big spenders that are like members at the club, like he'll teach them.
Huh,
or-
okay.
For the most part, he's probably just playing with some of the members.
Interesting.
Well, so Arroyo Trabuco, like you could just go on right now and go book a tea time. Like it's not like it's
Yeah.
super.
It's not exclusive.
Private.
Well, the thing is,
No.
if you're a teaching professional, if you're a PGA professional, if you don't know how to fold a shirt, then you're not a true PGA professional.
That is a
Has
fact.
anybody seen him fold a polo?
Somebody at Arroyo Trabuco merchandise. please.
Somebody at Michael Block.
So here, well, since we're about to dig into like who's winning stuff like that. Does Blocky make the cut this week?
I'm gonna go with yes.
Teddy?
Should we do an extra point for this?
Well, there's
No, there's
only
only two answers.
there's
you
only
know?
two choices, so one
Yeah,
or
so
two
I
of us.
mean,
Okay.
maybe all three of us. I don't know.
I'm going yes. I think he makes the cut. Probably doesn't do much on the weekend, of course, but I think he makes it.
Okay. Teddy? He's not
No.
making the cut?
No.
Yeah, after last week, I'm saying no. So we got one
Honestly,
yes and two no.
It would have been better if he got arrested at the main gate last week.
Could you imagine
Now
if it was
that-
a live player that got arrested? Like,
Could you imagine
Oh
the
or
my
something?
free blocky or like this is our cell block t-shirts that might come out after
Oh
that?
my gosh.
Like that would have been way better marketing than Scotty.
Sell Blocky for it. That actually would have been really good. That's a good
That would
idea,
have been
Justin.
awesome.
Could we still make that though?
Yeah. Yeah. You don't get out of the cell block until you make a cut block.
Does he have a
Should
mugshot?
should we just figure out where he's staying and swat him this week? Somebody
Oh,
at Fort Worth SWAT team.
Yeah.
We might have to cut that bit.
I don't think so.
But and then actually
Unless
do that,
he gets
'cause that's
swatted,
really-
then we're in big trouble.
Yeah. Yeah. which none of us have the capabilities to do that, but it does sound good. So, all right.
What's
so,
does anybody know Michael Block's middle name by chance?
I think it's just Blocky, isn't it? Michael Blocky Block.
Blocky block.
I know there's a lot of Michael Blocks that were arrested and have mugshots, but I can't tell. I digress. I'm sorry.
The track is right here. We are way off on the right.
Yeah.
Right now,
Yeah,
so
sorry.
Well, that's what happens when you bring up Blocky. I mean,
he's a needle mover.
yeah, it worked, and it's worked for him, and I am nothing but jealous of what he's been able to accomplish. So, so 23 wasn't last year at Charles Schwab. That was the playoff, right? I think we had, I don't even know how to say his name, Emiliano Grillo, right?
Mhm.
That's the correct pronunciation. And then we had Harry Hall, right? That was the playoff. Or did Harry Hall poop down his leg earlier in the day?
I thought the last playoff was Sam Burns and Scotty Scheffler.
That sounds right.
That was the year before.
No, I understand that, but I thought that was the last time this event went to a playoff.
That sounds right.
Oh, okay. Maybe it wasn't a playoff then. I remember just watching Harry Hall and being like, he's in his cap and he's wearing New Balances. Like, this is completely different than, like, we've got a smaller Bryson with weird shoes on. Which, if New Balance is listening, I will totally wear your product. Just send them my way, and I'll give you a few reviews, and maybe we'll find some people that way. But yeah, that was interesting to watch them last year. And then 2022 was Sam Burns, and 2021 was Jason Kokrak. So, I mean, you've got people who can control the ball. I mean, Sam Burns hits a pretty straight drive.
Yes.
Jason Kokrak, he was actually a pretty good player. He went live, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're not going to see him. I guess this leads into who are we picking? Because we've got Cam. You've got what, 6 points? I've got 4 points, and then Teddy bringing up the rear with 3 points after the last 3 events that we've done this on.
My apologies, guys. I had to switch my headphones. My AirPods died.
Shout out AirPods.
Yeah.
Somebody at Apple.
At Tim Apple.
Actually, no. You want something better than that. You need to go like at Beats or something so that, they want to sponsor an up and coming podcast.
I'm going to be fully honest with you. This is so loud in my ear right now.
I can't wait to just like start laughing or yell.
Well, Justin was asking who you were picking, Cam.
Yeah, my thought was, and I meant to say this in our pre-show meeting, but why don't we go when we have all ties? So we all got a point last week where we decided whoever gets the most points the week before would go first. Why don't...
Sorry.
Someone left the FBI building again.
Teddy lives on a drag strip. That was so loud in my ears. Sorry.
It was great timing.
Yeah,
Dom Toretto just left the apartment building.
He lives in my life at a quarter mile at a time. So
yeah,
don't judge him. What I was thinking is we go whoever has the least amount of points up. So Teddy, that would be you.
All right, Teddy.
Okay.
You're getting thrown a bone this week.
Do you just want to start? You want to start at cut line and then dead last and then pick?
Yeah, let's go cut line.
Yeah. All right. So for cut line, I'm gonna go 2 under. I think the guys are gonna tear it up, and yeah, I think the cut's gonna be 2 under this week. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm going the opposite. I think the new course is gonna play harder. And I'm really hoping by Saturday and Sunday it's drying out. And I want to see some like bouncy ball action from 150 yards.
I think it will, but I think after Friday, I think the scores are going to be relatively low. Yeah. And then I don't think they're going to be able to go as low through the weekend, except maybe a couple guys. I think it's going to be kind of like how it's been this year where the top half of the field is kind of separating themselves from everybody else.
Yeah.
And I think there might be, 10 guys with a shot on Saturday and then, a handful come Sunday.
So what's funny is that like Dallas is on flood watch for like week number 5. But there is, I mean, tomorrow they're showing what's the chance of precipitation? Like at 6 a.m. 0, and then all of a sudden at 3 p.m. it's 50%. So I don't know if it's gonna be a downpour to the point where it gets as soft as last week. And then Friday there's like 0 precipitation.
So the first groups out should be making the turn when it starts raining at 3 p.m. Got it.
Yep.
Shout out pace of play of the PGA Tour.
Yep. So I'm going even. That's my cut line for the week.
It's a safe bet.
So I did some research on this. And by
Not off the cuff.
And by research, I mean I Googled what the cut line was last year, and it was +2.
Really?
So I'm going with +2.
We got a decent spread this week.
Yeah, we're not close. Well,
I mean, we're close, but
we're not right in a row.
Yeah.
We have opportunities for being tiebreakers. So do we want to do you can't go over, like kind of like Price is Right, or Price is Right, or do you want to do rock paper scissors?
You could do rock paper scissors, or it could be a tie.
There's literally not going to be a tie. I mean,
Justin, if it's one over, we're both one away. If it's one under, you and Teddy are both one away.
Okay,
that's
so
called a tie, brother.
I get it. We're gonna go with whoever's closer to DFL gets the point.
So whoever gets,
sure.
Wait.
Yeah, use that as the tiebreaker.
I'll agree, just so we don't have to do this on our podcast. Great. Sounds like a plan, guys.
Teddy, I enjoyed the look that Cam had on his face. That's the whitest I've ever seen from Cam since like the 4th grade. So
he was just as confused as you were trying to understand the tiebreaker and how that was possible.
That is
oh man.
So well, moving on to DFL dead last. So part of me wants to pick Ryan Palmer because he played a part in some of the decisions on the renovation. And so I think it would just be fantastic if he were to absolutely shit the bed and come in last. But I'm not going to pick him. I'm going to pick Hayden Springer. He's made one cut so far this year. Just not playing good golf at all. Relatively no name. And I haven't been good in the DFL picks. This might mean that Hayden Springer is going to be top 5 this week, but
yeah, I would recommend to the audience to put $10 on Hayden Springer to top 20 this event,
or $1. I'm sure the odds aren't great. So
three units.
Yeah, $1.50.
I think it would be very funny if like Ryan Palmer didn't make the cut, and the announcer like on Saturday mornings like, yeah, he was a part of this, renovation, and he actually hasn't broken 80 since that happened. I know that's not going to happen, but
I'm debating. I know I've got a different name, but I kind of want to pick the same person I picked last week.
Really?
In Jimmy Walker, because I want him to play well so bad because I think there's like this cool personality that Jimmy Walker has. But there's also another name up there that I think you were thinking about, Teddy, which was Kevin Kisner.
Yeah.
And like I cannot go that direction because I love Kiz's personality. Like I think the guy's hilarious. I like him on the foreplay videos, so I cannot root against that guy, but damn. He has not played any good golf lately.
No, but the one time I picked him, I think he made the cut. So
that is true. So the other one that's kind of interesting on there is Trainer. Like, has Trainer gotten rid of his chunks?
Yeah.
So that was my other choice. I was trying to decide between Rory Sabatini and Trainer, and I ended up going with Rory Sabatini.
I mean, that's a safe pick.
I was eyeballing Rory Sabatini myself for DFL, so I like the pick.
It just depends on what hat he's wearing.
Yeah. Yeah.
If he's wearing the cowboy hat, which he probably will be because they're going to be in Texas, So
That's true.
I don't know. I wouldn't pick him.
Clearly.
Yeah. All right, Cam, who do you got?
I went with Webb Simpson, dead last.
That's an interesting pick.
He has
well,
played more golf this year too. Like he hasn't played
he
horrible.
keeps getting exemptions into events. He hasn't been playing that great. I am in the lead, so maybe let's tone down the crap talk here, guys.
Yeah, I just said interesting.
But it's one of those picks like, yeah, he could not make the cut, or he could literally maybe be in the mix going into Saturday and go from there. Like he could top 10, We'll see.
So we also have someone in the field that I was hoping one of us would end up picking because obviously he took Victor Hovland's spot, and we were discussing whether him and his brother are YouTube or golfers. So Wesley Bryan is in the field this week. So it'll be interesting to see how he plays at a big boy course.
I mean, he's a touring pro.
He's won on the PGA Tour.
Correct. So
Correct.
he is
RBC Heritage. He has a jacket. Okay.
Came in second to Billy Horschel this year in Puerto Rico. He almost had a second win.
Yeah, but somebody in this podcast thinks he's just a YouTube golfer. So,
so
Guess we won't be doing a
do
collab
you
with
think
him
he's gonna
anytime
do you think
soon.
he's
Thanks,
gonna make
Cam.
more money in tour events or on his YouTube channel this year? We'll
If
never be able
you-
to find this out because we're not going to know his YouTube earnings. But
That's
ahead.
true. However, because of how absurd some of the purses are now,
yeah,
I would say it's competitive. It's competitive with the YouTube money.
or you can put a third piece in there as YouTube / the golf course he bought. Will he make more money off of that, or will he
That's
make
true.
more money off of
But
it?
he also doesn't have to split his tour winnings with his brother.
True. Yeah. Fact. I mean, I looked at his
You think
channel
about that,
today.
Cam?
Yeah.
I don't think much. So no.
Yeah. He's got like his YouTube views on a bunch of videos are like 180,000 views.
They have a very, very nice following. I think it's mainly because of George. He's the more likable of the two, whereas Wesley is the better golfer, obviously. I still root for George in every single one of their videos, whether they're not on the same team, mainly because of personality issues.
Yeah, but the video that they did where it was making the cut, right, where they did that with Grant Horvat, they went out to Kiowa, which Kiowa, if you need 3 golfers to come out there and play again, please let us know because I really want to make a trip. But they did that making the cut, and Wesley gave some great tips to Grant. Like one thing that I have never even thought about is when it's dewy outside, to actually like after you're done taking your practice swing, to wipe the moisture off your face. It's like, oh yeah, I've never even really thought about doing that after a practice swing. I just wipe the blades of grass off. So.
And who's going to carry a towel all the way from their cart to where the golf ball is?
Well, you
I just use my thumb.
Far,
yeah, but now you got moisture on your thumb
or your glove.
Then I wipe that on my shirt.
Yeah,
it's not going to be 100% dry.
It's better than it was.
I am an
Probably already
11.
sweating.
I am an 11 handicap. Like, do you think I care about that?
You're still trying to figure out the difference between a 56 and a lob wedge. So we're good. When do I use this other club?
No, I know when to use the clubs.
Do you know how to use the clubs?
Yeah.
I don't execute it very well. That's the problem.
That's fair.
I play it out in my head like how I want to do it, and 95% of the time, that's not what happens.
Short game's tough, man. Short game is tough. All right, so winners of the tournament.
Winners, yeah. So I'll pick first. I'm gonna go with Nelly Korda this week. Nelly Korda to win the Charlie Schwab. No, actually, I'm gonna go Tony Finau. One, because he's in the field. Nelly Korda is not in the field. Somebody at Tim Hunt before he tries to correct me on that. So I'm gonna go with Tony
hashtag
Finau.
y'all got to be better.
Hashtag research. Tony Finau, I mean, obviously he hits the ball a mile. He's been playing a little bit better the last couple of months. And this is one of those events where like he would probably win it, right? It's between a couple majors.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a decent field. So that might be a little bit different. But if he were to win this, then it would create so much more hype for the rest of the year. And he probably won't do anything after this. So I think this will be the one that he wins. People will talk, and then he'll disappear again until, I don't know, probably the Sony or something next year.
Maybe
I
make a
like the
couple
pick.
mills and go away.
I root for Big Tone every chance I get. He does need a win like this, right, for his reputation, and like conversations that we have in the chat is that he hasn't really won anything worth a damn, right? But this, with the field it does have, it's a little bit more interesting because there's Spieth, there's Scheffler, there's Homa, there's some big names in this tournament. Compared to like winning the Barracuda is just not the same. So it'd be a big win for Tony, and I'll be rooting for him. I like him.
He
Good
is
pick, Teddy.
he is the 18th on driving distance overall this year. So I mean, he's at 308 yards. I'm trying to find driving accuracy. Like that's what I want to know, because with all those trees, I think that's going to be a huge play. I mean, and obviously driving distance correlates to how far he can get it. I mean, I said it earlier, a 3-iron off the tee. 3-iron off the tee is going to be like crucial for these guys this week, I think. Especially if they get some of that wind that usually comes in Texas. So that could be a great pick.
I mean, also you got to consider, okay, Ryan Palmer built the course, right? So he's playing everything at like a 260, 270 carry. Tony's going to hit it over all those lines that Ryan wanted.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true.
And somebody at Tim Hunt, I know Ryan Palmer didn't build the course. I know that.
So
I know we did.
driving accuracy on the PGAtour.com stats.
Okay.
How
Don't
accurate
Google it. Who do we think is first?
for accuracy?
For
Scotty
accuracy.
Scheffler.
Yeah, I don't even know. No clue.
Colin Morikawa.
That makes
Really?
He's hit 389 fairways out of a possible 494 for a 78.74%.
sense. Good Lord.
No
Shane
way.
Lowry's right behind him at 350 out of 448 for 78.13.
What?
That's impressive.
Okay, so but you watched last week. Colin Morikawa was playing the biggest fade slice. I mean, he was playing a 60-yard curve on some of those shot length towers. Like, that's interesting. With the tree lines, that will be a little bit harder to do than what he was doing last week. But 7,300 yards plays into his wheelhouse. I mean, and he's a really good iron player, so Colin could be a really good pick.
I was shocked to see him up there. Like, it just wasn't who I had in my head. It's like, he's gonna be like the most accurate guy.
I thought Scotty was like from tee to green, and then once he got on the green, he fell on his face.
I mean,
think
strokes gained is a little different. Yeah.
Yeah, true.
I think what's most impressive on the accuracy numbers is number 5, Siwoo
Michael
Kim.
Block. Oh,
We'll get the blocky here in a second, but Siwoo Kim has almost hit 100 more fairways than Colin Morikawa. He has 478, so he's like 90, 91, 98, whatever that number is behind. But he has 630 possible fairways hit. Like, he's playing so much golf. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just impressive. Sorry.
I also feel like, have you guys noticed, like, it seems like guys are playing more consistently than in years past. Am I the only one that's thought that?
Like taking less breaks off in between tournaments and stuff? Yeah. It could be because a lot of them are just, they seem like they're what I'll say out of form. Like Spieth isn't competing. Thomas really wasn't competing until this week. Like he actually did something. That I kind of noticed the same things. It was like, oh yeah, there's actually some players in this tournament where last year there wasn't.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of names that are actually playing that we all know, whether they're, got the
Mhm.
best odds, etc. There's a bunch of players playing this tournament. So,
we were asking about. We got the accuracy because of Tony Finau, right?
yeah.
Well, yeah, driving distance and accuracy. Yeah.
He's 95th. He's just below the tour average of 62%. He's at 62.15. The average is 62.66.
Damn.
And he's got more fairways possible than Colin Morikawa does by a long shot.
Wow, Tony's played in that many more tournaments than Colin.
568 fairways for Tony possible.
Well, that's because Tony will play in the off week
Yeah.
events.
He's one
Try
of
to
those
get the
guys. He's out there quite a bit, which is interesting because he's got like 9 million kids.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. Can you imagine traveling every week with 5 kids? I mean, I know that that's Teddy's ideal situation. He is leaning towards that on a weekly basis of just, making a large family happen. But man, that's got to be a lot of extra stress. So,
That's why he hits it so far. He's got that extra dad.
yeah.
So frustrated and pent up. Yeah.
Just so mad. You ate my dessert last night. Oh gosh.
What do you mean there's no more chicken nuggets?
Yeah. Who used my Japanese barbecue sauce?
All right.
All right. All right. So I'm going a little different direction than Tony, but I think it's probably similar on it. I think Max Homa is going to win this. I truly think that he's got the game from tee to green to actually play on a 7,300 yard course. It's not overly long, right? He's not overly long, but I think he's pretty accurate. I think he's got a good mid-iron game, and when his putter gets hot, he can make some stuff. And I think it wasn't hot last week, and I think it could come on fire this week.
It's just not a California course, though. That's the only thing.
I know, but if
the course is in California, I would 100%
totally
pick Max Homa.
Now, I think they still are on.
Are all his wins in California?
They are.
I think he might have won once outside California. Maybe
he's not a Quail Hollow winner, is he?
Wells Fargo. Yeah.
Yeah. He won a couple years ago.
Yeah, he won Quail. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's the one outside of California. Yeah.
But this week is on bent grass, so which is different because most of the time they are a lot more zoysia in Texas because it's a little bit more resistant to the
That's a good point.
etc. But it is bent grass, which he is used to playing on the West Coast. I mean, most of the courses are going to be bent grass. So
talking about grass, I'm going to say this since they're in Fort Worth, not far from Dallas. The best turf I've ever hit a ball off of was that Trinity Forest with their grass. It was incredible. The first wedge shot I hit on number 1, it was like this. I was like, I'm making 17 birdies today because this grass is just perfect.
Didn't you hit a wedge shot and you just called the pro shop and you're like, hey, course record?
Yeah. I was like, what's Jordan Spieth's record here? Because this 11 handicaps, it's in danger.
You didn't just text him yourself?
No, unfortunately, I didn't know him at that time.
Mm.
It's funny too. It's funny too because I hit my drive into the fairway bunker, so then I duffed my fairway bunker shot into the fairway. Then I hit that wedge shot. Tyler Bell can attest to this, to approximately 4 feet from about 120 yards out. So,
did you make the putt?
I did.
Nice.
I was like, this is going to be a great day, and then I think I made double bogey on the next hole. So
double bogey on the last hole.
Day in the life of an 11 handicap, right?
So this is kind of interesting. Max Homa's played 12 events this year, top 25, 7, 11 cuts made, 1 missed cut. So hopefully he's going to beat my DFL, and he's had 3 top 10s. Official money, $3 million. I think it's kind of crazy because he's got 26 million in his career earnings.
Well, he's a guy who just he played a ton of events as much as he could, to get those first few wins. Like he was playing every week.
Yeah,
and he
that's
got
valid.
Well, first it was the keep status, right?
Right.
Because he was like that fringe player for like 2-3 years. And then I think it was, one of those thoughts where I'm so close and like I'm able to compete and just trying to stay in form for as long as possible because
Yeah, ride that wave.
probably didn't
Yeah.
want to get relegated, right? Didn't want to have to go back to the Corn Ferry again.
I mean, he is 10th in the world rank and 16th FedEx Cup right now.
Does anybody care about the FedEx Cup?
Yeah, not really. But
I care about it when the tour, like when it happens, like the playoffs are happening. Like right now, I don't really care about it.
yeah.
But
I
like
think
like
the
last
FedEx
year
Cup-
when JT's got to make that pitch shot from 40 yards and he hits it off the pin, I was excited about the FedEx
that was awesome.
Cup at that point.
I enjoyed that. So
I feel like the FedEx Cup points right now are the equivalent of like making a hole-in-one on a par 3 course or something. You know what I mean? Where like
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really count.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny is that Xander Schauffele just got within reach of like being closer to Scotty Scheffler than like we are as non-pro players to Xander Schauffele or whatever the stat was. Like Scotty's just been so dominant. Like he's obvious. Like I don't think there's any way he doesn't win it just as it stands right now. Like it's gonna be impossible. There's gonna be so many more winners.
If he had to go to jail and serve time for a felony.
Yeah, like if he gets locked up for 6 months, like he's still gonna win the FedEx Cup because he's just so out of reach.
Yeah.
But yes,
you did say something,
count
Eddie,
on par
that
3 courses.
we have to go back to. If you make a hole-in-one on a par 3 course,
What did I?
a hole-in-one.
Hold on, let me do my pick and then we can have that discussion to close this out. How about that?
All right, that works.
I
What's your
like
pick,
I,
Cam?
I like both of your guys' picks, by the way. I root for both these guys. Max Homa was on my radar, but I'm going a little on both of my picks. I'm going out on a limb. You know, hopefully it's a strong one.
Annika Sorenstam.
But Michelle Wee, please. But for my outright winner, I'm going Keegan Bradley.
Okay. It's kind of like a dark horse pick where
Mhm.
like you wouldn't be surprised, right? Like this is the type of place that he would probably play really well at. And it wouldn't shock me to see him ultimately leading this tournament.
Yeah. And that being said, it wouldn't shock me like if he just misses the cut by 4 strokes.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. Like he
What
can go
size
out
hat
and
do you
have.
think he wears? By the way,
You think he's got a big head?
I think he's got a huge head.
It's
Yeah.
got to be custom because those Strixon hats don't fit my head. I have tried. I love Strixon irons. I love the company. I think it's great, but holy hell, they do not fit.
Is that on the PGA Tour stats head size?
I wish that would be much more valuable information. But you know what's funny? Max Homa is at 26 million for career earnings, and Keegan Bradley's at 42 million.
He's a journeyman. He's been on tour for a long time.
Yeah,
And he's had the ups and downs too.
Yeah, he's another guy who, I mean, I think he's won out east more than he's won anywhere else. Like he's from, I want to say he's from Connecticut
Mass,
or
Boston.
Massachusetts. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's New Englander for sure.
Yeah.
Woodstock, Vermont.
Yeah,
So
we were close.
he's played in the same amount of events as Max, 12, 5 top 25s, 3 missed cuts, and $2 million this year. So, and he's
Mhm.
46th in the FedEx Cup points and 20 in the world rank.
How old
his
is
dad
Keegan?
was an assistant at Portsmouth Country Club.
37.
Yeah, so he's only 3 years older than Max. I'm pretty sure Homa is 34. He's my age. Homa is.
Yeah, who is it? Isn't Colin only like 27?
Yeah, he's young.
Yeah, he's super young. It's kind of interesting to hear that when I was listening to podcasts like last week. But yeah, Max Homa's 33.
Yeah, okay.
So
I don't know. I like it. I'm picking him in my pick'em league. Hopefully he, pays off. It could be a good solo guy, the only one picking the winner, which could get me some good money. It adds up the money from each tournament. I'm well behind, so I need something big to happen because I'm one of the only people who haven't picked Scotty Scheffler yet.
well, so that's interesting though. Like, think about this. No one picked Scotty. No one picked Colin. No one picked Spieth, which kind of understandable, even though he has won at this tournament in the past.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
He's won it twice, hasn't he, Spieth?
yeah, but the fact that no one has actually picked Scotty is kind of weird. I mean, what, Teddy? What's your
It's
thought?
just boring. It's
It's a
boring.
boring
to pick 'em.
pick.
Yeah.
It'd be like picking Tiger in 2000, if between 1999 and 2005. It'd just be like picking Tiger at this point.
True. Yeah. I kind of like it.
Although
though.
there's literally like no one else you could have picked back then. Like whereas now there's actually some people who can.
No, I
cite
probably would have
it.
picked Mark O'Mara.
Marco. Yeah. Give me a Rocco Mediate for this
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
I mean, we had this
But
conversation.
like
I played
1999 Rocco Mediate, not
Yeah.
2004.
Not 2005.
I played in the
5, yeah.
tournament on Saturday. We had this conversation, and two of the guys I was playing with, they absolutely despise Scotty Scheffler. They think he is the most boring person in the world. They hate the fact that he is just
Just
like
show him his mugshot.
a nice guy. And to me,
Nice
like
guy.
I actually
He ruined that cop's pants, Justin.
Those were valued at over $50, and you're calling him a nice guy?
I kind of
Despicable.
like the fact that if he is truly a nice guy, like I kind of like that there's a wholesome nice guy out there, because there's a lot of assholes in this world.
I think, and we had
I'm
we
on a
had this
podcast
talk in
with
our,
2 of them.
yeah we had
But
this talk, Teddy, in our chat real quick, with our buddies, we'll call them. And
Acquaintances.
I posed the question of, do you think golf needs somebody like Tiger was, just an absolute dominant force,
hmm
or do we like to see, anybody any given day can go out and win this golf tournament? Not anyone per se, but Spieth can come out and win it, Sander can come out and win it, Colin can come out and win it.
A handful of guys from week to week.
Yeah, like I lean towards, like, I feel like golf became what it is because of Tiger and his dominance, and that's what people
Mhm.
want. And I think it'd be
Mhm.
good for the game. Like, if Scotty, the nice guy who doesn't do anything wrong outside of get arrested for one felony, comes out and wins 7 tournaments this year, 6 tournaments, 8, whatever. Like, I feel like that's what people want to see right now.
So who's the nicer guy at this point? Is it the felon, or is it the one who's divorcing his wife?
It's the felon. I'm gonna go the felon. I don't think Irish people are very nice by heart. Not saying that all Irish people are mean,
Oof.
Shout out Ireland.
Oof. Shane
Somebody
Lowry's
at the
gonna.
country
But
of Ireland.
but
Hit
they're
you.
fiery.
That is very true.
They
Like
it's
the
just
fact.
different. Like, I don't care about Scotty Scheffler's personality when I'm watching him play golf. I don't care about his personality. I want to see, like, personally, I want to see birdies. I want to see great shots leading to just made low scores. That's what I want to see.
I
Well,
At the,
I
U-
think
at the
golf,
U.S.
you
Open,
can
at the
get
U.S.
that.
Open, yes, I know. That's why I love it so much, because I can just go and pay $75 for a green fee and a cart and go do it myself. But I don't know. I just don't think. I don't know what I was going to say. I lost my train of thought.
Well, I think Scotty makes it somewhat exciting because he is not Tiger Woods when he gets to the green. Tiger Woods would make all the putts that Scotty's hitting him to. You know what I mean? Like, there is that part where when I watch Scotty where I'm
Well,
like,
Scotty, as of like before a month and a half ago, right?
true.
Mm-hmm.
So we are talking about Scotty. Scotty is the dominant player this year, 2024, 2023. Let's go out on a limb here. We did this for the PGA Championship. We're 2 weeks out, roughly. You've got 20 seconds. Who are you taking 2 weeks out for the U.S. Open?
Scotty Scheffler. I mean,
All right.
Yeah, I mean, he's been
I've-
setting himself up to pick him.
I've
the
I've
US
said this from like the first, like from the match. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna wait for the U.S. Open to pick Scotty Scheffler.
Yeah.
Okay. Teddy, who are you taking?
Snotty Sneffler. I mean, I would like to pick Scotty. Can I do
I
that?
think with this far out, like, yeah,
With this
we can all
far out,
pick
yeah,
Scotty.
we could all three take him. I mean, it's totally fine. It's just thinking 2 weeks out.
Actually, let me think of a live guy. You go ahead, Justin. I'm gonna think of a live guy that could do well out there.
So my pick for PGA is I think Colin Morikawa is going to play really well at Pinehurst.
Mhm.
But I'm on the verge of saying I think it could be a good place for Brooks to come. Because Brooks plays really well in tournaments that are not just like birdie fests that play really hard. And I think Pinehurst is going to play really tough.
There's going to be some big numbers put up at Pinehurst.
Yeah.
And Brooks does do a good job of avoiding
avoiding the big numbers.
Hard courses really, really well. And if
Like,
he's not getting in a horse race, right? They're not going like who can get to 20 under the quickest. That's not his game. But if it's, hey, don't make a big number and stay right around 5 to 10 under, he's got a shot.
I don't think the winning score is going to – I think the winning score, way too early winning score pick, is going to be like 5 under par.
I'm going to go Bryson.
I said, what if Bryson wears his flat cap and wins the U.S. Open?
No, if he wears that cap, I want it written down that if he shows up Thursday morning with that cap, I reserve the right to change my pick.
Okay, we'll put it into the contract.
Okay.
Bryson is a showman now, right? As per his quote. Like what did it say? It was I'm gonna be a showman with a little bit of good golf, is basically what he said. Or an entertainer with a little bit of good golf. And coming into US Open with the history with Payne, etc., that could be something that he does. Like very easily he could be wearing the cap because he wore it at TCU and early on.
At SMU. If he's wearing the cap and wearing the knickers, then I will stay with him as my pick.
So you're fine if he goes all out, but if it's just
if he goes all out,
polo,
yes.
You're okay. Gotcha.
Yes.
So story. My junior year of high school. It was the year after.
What year was this?
Like 1927.
1943.
Yeah. So
Hitler had just invaded Poland.
It was the year after Payne passing, and
okay.
I'm a huge Payne Stewart fan. I love that golf swing. Like literally, him and Freddie Couples. That is what my dad said. You model your golf swing after him.
And somehow you got it reversed.
Yeah, and I got it reversed, and I was born handicapped. Haha. So my entire golf team at State, we wore knickers and a cap.
Did anybody play good after doing that?
I got 5th.
Okay, all right.
I was fine with that.
There's only 6 players, but
again, he's handicapped.
It was 1937, so there wasn't a lot of popularity happening.
Sure.
But yeah, so I do have an affinity for the knickers. I think it's actually kind of a fun thing, but it is surprising that no one has brought that back out.
I don't think it's surprising at all, to be honest with you.
No, I mean, but like
it's
growing
terrible.
up, any kid that was wearing that was always awful, except for Ted Potter Jr. He played in the same like junior league I did. He was much older than I was, but he was dominating and winning absolutely everything and dressing like that for every single tournament. And like the first time I saw him, it was like one of the first tournaments of like that summer or whatever. And it was just like, I was, I don't know, 10 years old. And I just remember like looking at my dad and being like, who the hell is this kid? Like, what a loser. And then like at the end, they're doing the trophies and it's like, all right, and scored 67, like Ted Potter. And it was like, what? That kid shot 67?
Yeah.
Dressed like that? And yeah, then he went on to win a couple professional tournaments. So
the only guy I know personally that's worn an outfit like that when I golf with him is a notorious like accused cheater. You know who I'm talking about, TL2. So it's not a good outfit, but Payne Stewart, whatever. Like, I don't want anybody to wear that crap.
To be fair, his outfit was fine. It was just when he got into the NFL sponsorships and like stuff like that, then it was terrible because it was like that sort of outfit with a giant Cleveland Browns
Yeah,
helmet
the NFL
on it.
shield
The
on it.
Steelers with like black and yellow everywhere.
Yeah.
all
Now,
that stuff.
but this does make me think as we're talking about this, what is Malvin going to do with Jason Day for the U.S. Open at Pinehurst with Payne Stewart?
Yeah. Mm.
That's
Going to be
valid.
some fire fits, right?
Do you think they put him in a flat cap?
I don't think he would wear one, but I think they're going to try to do something.
A flat cap's
something
gonna be better than that
interesting.
crown cap he wears right now. That thing is just like, I don't know.
I don't think he would wear one. I think it's like a comfort thing, right? Where like
Yeah.
there's
You have
once-
to willingly and want to wear that hat to like
Yeah.
be okay with wearing that hat.
Yeah.
Like these guys, they can put on any sort of like baseball cap, we'll call them, and be fine with it. But like that kind of style, it throws you off.
because it's the same sort of frame, right? Like as you're looking down at the ball and stuff. So like it's
Yeah.
not a big deal. But when you put on that with like there's not much coverage,
Mhm.
right? Like it's a totally different feeling. It's
Basically
a totally
not
different
wearing a
fit.
hat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the U.S. Open. You don't necessarily want to feel that way.
Gosh,
you
that,
don't-
that could actually be kind of a
Yeah.
cool little spoof bet of what is the next outfit that Malbon comes out for on the major.
I'm excited for the script when it comes out.
You want to talk about someone who's a absolute genius at marketing is Stephen Malbon. Like for us to even be talking about it right now, he has accomplished it, and Jason Day has tenfold gotten that. But
I mean, when it came out, like I looked, the prices aren't. Some
They're
of
not-
the stuff
The vest is
is
absurd.
absurd.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Like
some of the stuff
cost-wise?
isn't bad. Yeah,
The-
it's like it's probably comparable to Sunday Red with the pricing, where like
Yeah,
some
it's-
stuff is super expensive. The rest of it, it's up there, but it's still in line with.
You go buy a
some of the
polo
other
for
luxury ones.
$110, $120, just like
Yeah.
you do for any other big brand out there. Peter Millar.
there's a
whatever.
rumor that Nike, I mean, Jason Day splitting from Nike was a big deal, but he also kind of bashed Nike on the way out. He was getting paid $10 million a year to wear Nike. So
Not a bad
I'm-
gig.
my
What do you
ultimate,
get paid?
Someone
Yeah.
at Nike, because we could
my
we
ultimate
could use
question
that
was,
cash flow.
but how does, I mean, Malbon's I'll say they're a known brand. They're not a big brand at this point.
No,
How do you
it's
have
a boutique.
So how do you have the cash flow to actually do that? And I mean, my thought is, okay, well, they structured it kind of like, Jordan, where he gets a
Some sort of
percentage
stake.
or rev
Yeah.
share of every piece sold. I mean,
Yeah.
that's got to be the only way that they were able to do that. So now
I
he is
also
just-
think at this point, like you're fine with taking a bit of a pay cut on it if it makes your peace of mind and like you're in something early. Like he's got enough money where, okay, I'm not gonna get paid $10 million for what I wear, but I'm gonna get paid $5 and then have equity in this company. Like
oh
Yeah.
yeah, that does make sense.
for a long-term plan is probably the best because Nike can move on from an athlete whenever they want, and they will. So that's my thought on it.
They have a lot of athletes, but I thought it was interesting to actually think of like that. We were talking about this weekend at this tournament, and it was like, yeah, Malbon, like they did it all right because now all of us are talking about the hammer pants. We're talking about the vest. I mean, how many of us have gone to the website just to even check it out? Where 2 years ago,
I have.
it's just like, whatever, like no one was going to go check it out. So kudos to them. I think they did a great job, and they've got a cool logo on some of their stuff, which I think could be kind of fun if I was into it. So
Yeah, that's the thing. Like Teddy said, it's boutique. Like a lot of young people are probably buying into it.
Yeah.
Um,
LA,
and
that was a
we're-
perfect description that I heard this weekend. It was
We're
LA
outside of
golf
their
scene.
demographic typically, like age wise.
totally.
All three of us, or just like two of us?
That's just-
One of us is very far out. The other two have just came out of that age group. So
Well, my watch says I'm not older than any of you guys. So there, with my body health. So there.
with your body health, yeah.
On that note,
Weren't you the one just complaining about your back?
hey, I need you to just not remember everything.
Good callback, Teddy. Good callback. I like
Yep.
it.
And on that note, this is this week's podcast.
Yes.
And we are good to go.
we got any closing thoughts for the listeners?
I'll go first. My name is Rod, and I like to party.
Don't bend over and pick up kettlebells. It's just bad for your health.
How are you supposed to pick them up then?
You don't. You avoid
You
them
just
at all
you
costs.
just walk
You
past
just walk
the
by
kettlebells.
them. Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I would like to thank Teddy for throwing me off earlier in this podcast, talking about if I wanted to go see Mayhem, I could just go play golf myself. I know that.
I didn't say that.
Maybe
said
I
if you wanted-
misheard you.
If you wanted to go and make birdies and see good golf shots, I said you could just go play golf.
See, I
It was a compliment.
misunderstood you. I misunderstood you, and it threw me off.
There
Anyways,
was underlying sarcasm with it, but
no, you didn't have to go there. All right.
Oh,
All right.
oh,
All right. I'm
all right.
ending this. Everyone, make sure you're liking, subscribing. We're the Great Bogey Podcast on YouTube and Spotify. We recorded this on Wednesday. We'll put it out early Thursday morning. We appreciate you guys. Have a great evening.